Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Stephanie Stewart. I'm one of our practitioners and a ministerial intern here, and I want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living of Greater Dayton. This is your first time here with us. A special welcome to you. I'm looking for new faces. Glad you're sharing your morning with us. If you look at your bulletin, there is an extra little strip on the end there. If you'll fill that out and drop it in the contribution basket when it comes around, or take it over to the Welcome Center. It's a way for us to stay in contact with you and let you know what's happening around here. If you have any questions at the end of our time together today, please don't hesitate to come up and ask me or ask any of the ladies that are in a blue or teal prayer stole. So here at Center for Spiritual Living, it is our mission to be a community of love that supports all people in real and deep spiritual transformation. Giving the reading invocation today will be Lana Mayhew. Our vigil holder is Judy Nossmacher. And our interfaith candle lighting will be done today by Lana Mayhew and Key Gabrielle. Let's see. Our kids today are with Carol Huseman. Anyone? All right, let's just bless Carol. Carol is our January volunteer of the month. Thank you, Carol. So she's going to go back to the classroom and know the growth of our youth program. So, a couple of announcements. Lots of stuff in front of me. A couple of announcements. We have an ongoing drive for our young people at Choices Foster Care. There are these barrels right over here. If you look, yes, here's the list right here. List of things that they need as they're getting started in their adult life, as they're transitioning out of foster care and into independent living. Please take a good look at that list. Maybe you catch some things on sale, get a couple of extras, and drop them in the bucket for these young people that we are trying to help them get a leg up. Okay, so our photo directory is here.
No.
Yay! The photo directory is here. There was a couple of snafus along the way. They are here. So after service today, if you go into the library, if you happen to not know where the library is, don't go left out the door. Go right. Go past the social hall, and you'll see the library. Chris Noah Cooper, would you stand, please? This is Chris Noah Cooper. She is our new volunteer director, our co-director. Excuse me, myself, and she will be handing this out after service. Thank you, Chris. Let's see. If you are volunteering, speaking of the volunteer director, if you are volunteering your time, there is a volunteer log at the Welcome Center. Please make sure you fill that out and keep track of your time. You don't have to total anything up, but please make sure you're using that. Let's see.
Game night.
Game night, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Game night's coming up. Don't miss game night. Saturday, February 9th from 6 to 9. You can bring a dish or a snack or drinks or a game, or you can just show up and have a really great time. Okay, game night is always a lot of fun. Please don't miss that. February 9th, Saturday, February 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. right here. Anybody else? Anything else?
We have a social green meeting starting at noon in the community room in the back. All are welcome.
Social green meeting.
Very, very impromptu last minute hike. If anybody wants to go at 3:30, we're meeting at the Ramada Inn in Xenia. We're going to do 5K. So anybody's welcome to join us for that.
Okay, so a meeting and an impromptu hike.
Nice day for it.
Yeah, it is. It's a little wet, but it's a nice day. So please see Kelly, who was just talking there. Please see Kelly after service if you want some details on that, okay? We do something a little different with the announcements here. Does anybody have any questions about anything that's been announced? Julie, yeah.
I was just wondering, is there a date on the collection of the items here? I didn't see it on here.
A date for a collection for the items? No, it is an ongoing.
Oh, it's an ongoing thing?
It's ongoing, yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
Anybody else? Hey, there you go. Okay, so how about a little more music and I'll get out of the way here. All the World is One.
We light the first candle to honor Christianity. What a person plants, they will harvest. One who plants selfishness, ignoring the needs of others, harvests a crop of weeds. We light the second candle to honor Taoism. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. We light the third candle to honor Judaism. There is one respect in which each of us has precisely the same strengths as Moses, namely the strength to choose. There is no hand of heaven, no physiological, genetic, psychological, or providential compulsion that forces us to act one way rather than another. We light the fourth candle to honor Buddhism. Irrigators channel waters, fletchers straighten arrows, carpenters bend wood, the wise masters themselves. We light the fifth candle to honor Islam. O my servants, it is only your deeds that I record for you and then recompense for you. So let us one finds goods praise Allah, and let one who finds other than good blame no one but themselves. We light the sixth candle to honor the spirituality of the Navajo. Be careful when speaking. You create the world around you with your words. We light the final candle to honor Hinduism. The wind is blowing. Those vessels whose sails are unfurled catch it and go forward on their way. But those which have their sails furled do not catch the wind. It is that the fault of the wind. The reading today, Beyond Religion, Ethics for a Whole World by the Dalai Lama. Self and others can only really be understood in terms of relationship. We see that self-interest and others' interests are closely interrelated. Indeed, we see that there is no self-interest completely unrelated to others' interests, due to the fundamental interconnectedness which lies at the heart of reality. Your interest is also my interest. From this, it becomes clear that my interest and your interests are intimately connected. In a deep sense, they converge. So if you can just take these words into that inner sanctuary for a few moments. So how good it is to know that right where we are, God is. It is down to the depth of our soul. There is no way to be separate from this magnificent energy of God that moves through us, as us, and around us at all times. It is our very breath that is God breathing us. It is our hearts that are beating, and God beating that with us, as us, and around us at all times. And so I know that there's a deep interconnectedness within all of us. We are part of that one mind. We are part of love and light and energy. And so I know that same power of God is divinely orchestrating this time together. I know that with the band, that they create such magnificent music together every single time. And that I know that God is speaking through Stephanie at this moment. She will be speaking, and we are going to be able to hear the depth of what she is speaking about. And so I know our children's church is in divine order and divine right action. And I just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And together we say, and so it is.
Are we on? Okay. So I always have too much paper up here, so we're going to try something different today. I actually have it on paper, but I also have it electronically. So if this fails, we're still good. Have any of you ever seen that the movie Little Shop of Horrors? Rick Moranis and Ellen Green. Ellen Green plays Audrey in it. I woke up this morning, and that song that she sings, Suddenly Seymour, you know what I'm talking about? Suddenly Seymour. I won't do that to you, but you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
That song was in my head this morning. I don't know why, but that's what was there. That doesn't have anything to do with my talk. I just wanted others to suffer with me with that little earworm. You're welcome. So today's topic is oneness, and I will admit that I was not thrilled when I saw that the topic for today was oneness. Oneness is it's a hard topic for me. It's kind of this, it feels big and nebulous and maybe sometimes kind of airy-fairy, and for me it's tough to grasp. So of course, it gets assigned to me to talk to you about. I think it's tough to grasp because most of the stories that I hear from people that are talking about they've had an experience of oneness. It's what I would describe as a mystical experience. It's what I have heard described as a mystical experience. And if you know anything about mystical experiences, there are thousands of things written about mystical experiences over centuries. Right? I mean, we do spiritual practice here to live our best life, but we also do them to help us recognize when we're having a mystical experience. We can't necessarily cause ourselves to have one of these experiences. Ooh, we can be prepared, right? Oh, that's what's happening to me right now. I mean, Ernest Holmes had a mystical experience in the middle of a talk once, toward the end of his life. He was standing in this auditorium full of people, and nobody knew what was happening to him. But he sort of stumbled as he walked away from the podium, and they figured out later, he finally talked about it later, and they didn't write about it till he died, until well after he died, that he'd had a mystical experience, this feeling of oneness in the middle of an auditorium of hundreds and hundreds of people. So yeah, it can happen anywhere, and we do spiritual practice to prepare ourselves to enjoy, I guess, the experience. I don't know, oneness is hard to talk about for me. Because, maybe you've never had one of these feelings that you hear people talk about. This is a list of some of the ways that I've heard it described, okay? I've heard people say that they feel like they lost a sense of the borders of their bodies. They feel overwhelming calm, overwhelming joy, a sort of ecstasy. I've heard that word used a lot. They no longer see people as having bodies, physical bodies, but seeing them only as interconnected masses of light. The interconnected thing comes in a lot. They see nets and webs. These are all the ways I've heard mystical experiences described. An experience of oneness, a oneness. We are all one. Now, I can't say I've ever had an experience like this. I can't say I've ever felt what I would label as oneness, this sort of grand loss of the small s self part of me. Okay? And even those people who I do know that have had those feelings or had that experience, I haven't met too many that can kind of readily call that feeling up in their body whenever they want. And they often struggle to describe it. Now, a lot of people may disagree with this, but I think oneness is so difficult to talk about because the feeling of it is so elusive to the human experience. We see ourselves as separate. We see ourselves as separate from one another, physically separate. And that makes it easy to see only emotional separateness and spiritual separateness. It makes us easy to other. You are you, and I am me, and they are them. And to turn around and say, and we are that, or and we are one, maybe it feels a little disingenuous. Maybe it feels weird. So how do we get ourselves to a place of feeling oneness? And for that matter, why worry about it? Why worry about it all? Why is having faith that we're all one even important? Because quite obviously for a lot of people it's not important. Either that or it's too hard to think about or it looks too much like work. I think it's a lot easier to do things when we already have the feeling. Like when we talk about affirmative prayer here, and affirmative prayer is this particular kind of prayer that we do here. We don't ask, we don't beseech, we don't beg for a gift from a God that's outside of us. We believe that God is all that there is. It is everywhere present. Why would you cut off your own finger? Why would God keep something from us? So we know, and that is what affirmative prayer is. And when we talk about that kind of prayer here, what we teach is that it doesn't happen until the feeling is there. A thought plus a belief plus a feeling equals a manifestation. Right? There's no result without that feeling of, yes, this is true for me now. But I just pointed out that oneness is an elusive thing to feel, even for those that have had a mystical experience. So now what? Right? So now what? Now what do we do? Have you ever heard the term fake it till you make it?
Yes.
I want to give you something else to sit with, to ponder for a bit, okay? A different term here, a different phrase. Face it till you make it. Okay, face it till you make it. Hold on to that. Hold on to that for a little bit, okay? We'll be back. So oneness is this belief that we are all one. Separation is an illusion. It's a nice kind of Buddhist turn of phrase, right? Separation is an illusion. But separation doesn't look much like an illusion, right? We aren't all connected by a big rope. I don't go to work with you, you don't go to work with me. That's the most innocuous example I could come up with. Separation is an illusion, but it sure doesn't look that way or feel that way. So why bother? Why bother giving it effort, much less time and thought and work? Okay, so let's not take the easy route, shall we? I mean, I think most of you know me by now. I don't do things the easy way. Let's just set the place on fire now and get it over with. Let's talk about our southern border. Okay, there was only a slight murmur that went through. Everybody, please just go ahead and take a deep, deep breath for me. I want you to just be present in your body. I don't want anybody to feel defensive, because it's probably not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Okay. So let's talk about our southern border. Now there appears to be essentially two mindsets. One mindset says we must keep people from crossing our border. Okay? The other mindset says we must take in those in need. Right? We must take in those in need. We must keep people from crossing our border. Now for those of us who believe that we must keep people from crossing our southern border, this is what I hear most often, okay? They will take my job. They will endanger my family. And for those of us that believe that we need to take in those in need, this is what I hear most often. Who are we as a nation if we don't do this? The soul of our nation is lost. Can you hear that the common denominator here is fear? I am afraid I will lose something that is dear to me. My job, my family, or my emotional view of my home, of my country. When we are afraid, we want to feel safe. We want to feel secure. No matter what your fear is concerning our southern border, we all want to feel safe. We all want to feel secure. That is a common interest. That is a common desire. We should be interested in cultivating oneness in ourselves because it is a pathway to peace. It is a pathway to peace for ourselves. It is a pathway to peace for our society. It is a pathway to peace for humanity. Now you may be sitting there saying, look, my beliefs about what is happening at our southern border is a order of magnitude different from their belief. Yes. But you still have a common desire. We have to start somewhere. because it ain't getting done like this. Have you ever heard the story of a group of pro-life people and pro-choice people, and they're in this room together? They sat down in a room together, and the usual rhetoric was flying. You kill babies. You don't view women as equal human beings. And pretty soon they realized they were just kind of screaming into the void. Does that sound familiar? Screaming into the void? And they understood that they had to find a starting point. And I can't think of really two more opposite. Looking for a starting point, someplace in the middle. And what they finally came to was that they both wanted to protect children. That was their shared interest. They both wanted to protect children. That was their shared desire. That children be okay in this world. They were still a long way from being able to even consider cooperating with one another on anything. But there was this one thing. Sometimes, I'm just going to say it this way, sometimes where we have to start from is pretty shitty. It's not ideal. But it's because we've put ourselves there. Sometimes we put ourselves in less than ideal places, and that's where we have to start from. When we come together in those shared places with those shared desires, those shared interests, and then move out from those shared places, we're coming from a place of oneness. And sometimes those shared places are very, very small. Sometimes those shared places are very, very small. But faith doesn't have to be all that big, does it? They can be just as big as a mustard seed, right? So let's go back to face it till you make it, okay? I saved this for later because this is the next level deeper of finding shared desire, okay? A shared interest. So oneness is a challenging concept because, we can't all necessarily feel it first and then go out and do it. Go out and act from that place of oneness because we already feel it. We have to figure out how to do it first and then have faith that the feeling will eventually come. We have to do it in this less than ideal order. It is, by necessity for many of us, myself included, the intellectualizing of something mystical, at least initially. And just as an aside, asking me to intellectualize anything is probably not the best idea. So face it till you make it. Ooh, so what are we facing? Our own stuff. It gets called shadow work a lot. Oh, man, shadow work. I don't want to do that. Come on. They're always talking about that. I want to look at the light and the unicorns and the rainbows. I don't want to do it. Neither do I. I don't really know of anyone that likes looking kind of closely and digging into things like their own biases, their own limiting beliefs. That's sort of parts of us that we kind of think maybe are ugly. Oh, that's not spiritual. I hate to break this to you, but having the courage to face your own shadow is probably the most important spiritual work that any of us will do. Why? Because oneness is impossible to get to when we don't see the walls we put up around ourselves. We can't get to oneness until we see our own walls. And even if we don't have the courage to be a spiritual archaeologist and really dig in deep to our own shadow, we can just come here. What are the three things I always call us to, right? I call us to ourselves. I call us to our own work. I call us to one another. I call us to our spiritual community. And I call us out into the world. Do your own work, do the work together, then go out and do it. So perhaps in my example of what the two sides are feeling about the border, maybe that helped you look at some of your own thoughts and feelings about the people that are on the opposite end of the spectrum of feeling from yours. And maybe it didn't. Maybe it didn't. So maybe you can sit down here with someone. Maybe you can sit down right here with someone who is on the opposite end of that spectrum from you. And you can say, I don't understand your feelings, but we have the commonality of this place. And we have the commonality of these teachings. You are my friend. And I want us to remain friends. I cannot other you. You cannot be those people to me. You cannot be that morally and ethically and spiritually inferior person over there. We are a community. I want to know myself and therefore God better. And I'm hoping that we can support one another in that endeavor. I'm hoping that between the two of us we can come up with a mustard seed. You could come here and you could do that. That's what we can do here together. Because when we have to walk out into the world and do the really hard work of being a place of healing, we better be ready. Or else we're just going to be screaming into the void, right? Or adding to the problem. Coming from a place of oneness heals. Heals ourselves and one another and our world. So maybe you're sitting there now saying, why do I have to do it? Why do we have to do it? Why doesn't the jerk across the street have to do it? I don't know about you, but I got to sleep at night. I got to sleep at night. And so, yes, I make an active choice. And that's really what we're all about here, isn't it? That personal responsibility of understanding we're always at a place of choice. I got to sleep at night. And if you don't like the thought of any of this, of facing and doing your own shadow work, so we can come to every person and situation from a place that recognizes that we are all one, so that we can heal ourselves and each other and the world, I get it. I get it. It's not easy. And it's not fair. It's the price we pay for leadership. It's the price we pay for being a place of healing. It's the price we pay for being called. And yeah, being called can suck. But it will wrestle you to the ground until you answer. We are worthy of this calling. Now, the work is hard. There is such peace in it. I'm not asking you to walk this path of oneness with me. I'm not asking you to walk this path of oneness with me. I'm telling you, you can't escape it. Because we're already on it. It's time for us to face and accept our place on the path. That's who we are. That's where we're headed. There is no handbasket. Will you take a moment in consciousness with me to know that? So here and now in this place of love and peace, this place of compassion, I know that God is, by whatever name we call it, God, Spirit, the One, it is. It is within us, it is around us, it is everywhere at all times. It is our joy, it is our grief, it is our anger, it is our knowingness. And we are never kept from it. We are never kept from its love, we are never kept from its peace, we are never kept from its absolute wisdom. And absolute wisdom is oneness. The faith that we are not separate from one another. That what I do reaches out to each of you by a web unseen. And what we each do reaches out into our communities, reaches out into our world. I know that oneness is an undeniable fact of our humanness. And so what I know now for this congregation, what I claim for it, is a willingness to say yes to oneness, a willingness to say yes to one another, to our hardest work, to our deepest work, to the shadow we may not wish to face, but do not ever have to face alone, because we are never alone. I claim this for us now. I know this is our truth. I know this is our calling to be a place of healing in this world, both as a community and as individuals, walking out into our lives, walking out from a place of oneness. To say yes to our siblings in humanity. And I am so grateful. I feel so blessed. I know this community is such a blessing. I simply say thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you to the One from which all emanates. I simply let this go. I let it be, knowing that we are already on the path, that we are walking it all together. There is no better place to be. And so we anchor this together and saying, and so it is.
So it is.
And just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life. We are all just drops with
And so now we have an opportunity to contribute to our community, to start this walk together, to recognize our oneness with one another. Each contribution we make is first and foremost a contribution to ourselves as evolving spiritual beings, as those willing to walk the path and to face our shadow work. And I invite you to acknowledge that. I invite you to acknowledge our interconnectedness by reaching out to someone near you. No, really. I invite you. There's like only one song we're willing to do that for. Reach out to someone near you and affirm with me, I give this contribution for you.
I give this contribution for you.
I give this contribution for me.
I give this contribution for me.
We are community.
We are community.
And together we grow.
And together we grow.
And so it is.
The Lion King over there.
The Lion King, all right. Let's see. So our practitioners are here to pray with you after service today. They're wearing either the white or teal prayer stoles, and of course I will as well. I'm a practitioner, obviously. I just don't happen to have my prayer stole on, I'm sorry. This is our gift to you on Sunday. Thank you to everyone who made this morning's service possible. Judy Nossmacher, Lana Mayhew, Key Gabrielle, Mary Emerson and Carol Boyer both greeted and passed the contribution basket. Carol Jackson, I thought maybe you were at the Welcome Center. I was like, well, Carol Jackson's volunteering at the Welcome Center. Okay, do we have somebody at the Welcome Center whose name I can call out? Do we have somebody? Oh, Teresa Nappy will be at the Welcome Center. Thank you, Teresa. And thank you to Carol Huseman for knowing goodness and light for our children's program. And thank you to the Higher Mind Band, especially with our guest vocalist Monique here. So please stand with me for our closing affirmation and our closing song, which is Put a Little Love in Your Heart. Please affirm with me, I am willing.
I am willing.
I am courageous.
I am courageous.
I walk with my spiritual community.
I walk with my spiritual community.
We are one.
We are one.
And so it is.
And so it is.